Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Casmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. New Patriotic Party flag bearer Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia accuses National Democratic Congress flag bearer John Dramani Mahama of running away from a possible debate. Also coming up, Ghana Integrity Initiative calls on government to establish and resource Whistleblower Reward Fund as provided for in the Whistleblower Amendment Act 2023, Act 1103, as Africa marks Anti-Corruption Day today. We'll engage the Executive Secretary shortly. And much later, Ghana Health Service, through the neglected tropical disease program, embarking on a mass drug administration in 77 endemic districts and 3 lymphatic endemic districts in the next 2 weeks. Thank you very much for joining us today. Today, July 11, is being observed across Africa as AU Anti-Corruption Day. And now, according to World Economic Forum, Forum estimate corruption increases the cost of doing business by an average of 10%. The African Union back in 2002 estimated that 25% of the combined GDP of African countries, that's up to $148 billion, is lost annually to corruption. This year, in recognizing the role of whistleblowers, the 2024 African Anti-Corruption Day will be commemorated under the theme Effective Whistleblowers Protection Mechanism, a critical tool in the fight against corruption. Ghana Integrity Initiative, the national chapter of Transparency International, has called on the government to establish and resource the Whistleblower Reward Fund as provided for in the Whistleblower Amendment Act 2023, Act 1103. Now, Mariada is the Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative. She joins us live on the phone. Good afternoon to you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Beatrice, and good afternoon to your viewers.
Now, this year, AU's Anti-Corruption Day is themed Effective Whistleblower Protection Mechanism, a critical tool in the fight against corruption. How important is that for us in Ghana?
Thank you very much. Whistleblowing is a very critical aspect of the fight against corruption. Without whistleblowers, we would not see and we will not be able to have seen some of the results that have been generated in the fight against corruption. We are talking about investigations that have led to the recoveries of huge monies. We are talking about the various leaks, Wiki, Paradise, and others. These have been through whistleblowing, and their contribution to the fight against corruption at the entry point where we would be able to identify the wrongdoing, and these courageous individuals and groups who are able to then bring this to light have facilitated and enabled the fight against corruption across the sub-region. And in Ghana particularly, and for that matter today, we say that some of them have been very, very, we celebrate them today. However, we are talking about the mechanisms we have put in place. And as the team you rightly cited, we are talking about how do we ensure that the mechanisms are put in place and very much promoted in such a way that everyone who sees any instance of corruption or corruption-related issue happening anywhere, wherever they find themselves, will have access to make a complaint that would lead to the investigation, the prosecutions, and sanctioning to help us exhaustively fight corruption.
From where you sit, do you think we've done enough, especially in implementing this whistleblower reward fund as provided for in the Whistleblower Amendment Act 2023?
Certainly not. We have not. This law was passed in 2006, that's Act 720. And almost 2 decades later, there was supposed to be the setting up of a fund that rewards whistleblowers who, as a result of their complaints, have led to a significant retrieval or recovery of some sums of money or whatever it takes to the state. Unfortunately, 2 decades or almost 2 decades down the line, it's just in 2022 we had an amendment that was supposed to propel the setting up of the fund. Unfortunately, we have not seen that done. Some of the instances where we see something being done is in institutions like the GRA, which has its mechanism in place for those who make complaints to them receiving some amounts when they are able to recover. But that is not the essence of the setting up of the fund we are talking about.
In Ghana, and this is something you're aware of because you've been in this area for a very long time, you would hear people say that perhaps we haven't done enough or raised enough public awareness on that. Do you think that is the problem, the reason we don't seem to be dealing with corruption head-on?
It is one of the critical challenges, and we mention it in the statement, that there are institutions that are set up to promote civic awareness of the citizenry, and one of it would include certainly the issues of empowering citizens to know their rights to report wrongdoing when they see it. It is a constitutional responsibility. However, we have had some hurdles in the way. We continue to see people in our surveys that we've conducted over the years saying they are either afraid to make these complaints when they encounter them, or they believe nothing would be done if even they complain, or they believe they will be sanctioned wrongly, vilified. We have had instances like that in the past, so it's not surprising that people are a little hesitant. Unfortunately, also as a state, we have not resourced the institutions responsible for civic education to be able to carry out their mandates relating to this. We also have the anti-corruption key institutions who are supposed to be doing this. But then if you take their mandate, for instance, SHRIDE, which is supposed to be investigating and preferring recommendations for action, if they also add education, it means the media resources they have would go into that. And so you don't see much happening. So it's been in the mandate of civil society to do so in the media, but this is not exhaustive enough. And so for us, we believe that government, that's why we call on government to look at the issue of awareness creation, because it is through awareness that we get to know that perhaps SHRIDE has a mechanism in place for people who have issues to report. Perhaps the Attorney General and the Office of the Minister of Justice also has a mechanism. Without education, people would not know, and we believe that there's a lot more for us to do to get there. And then the citizen is also by right supposed to ensure that when we see some of these wrongdoings, we should be proactive enough to want to complain. However, for some of the reasons that our surveys have gathered, they continue to remain aloof and apathetic in this regard because they are either afraid of it. But essentially, yes, we have not done much when it comes to education and awareness raising for citizens to blow the whistle.
So do I hear you say that a bit more of education would also help with the fear of those citizens who do not want to report?
Especially, for instance, when you take the Whistleblower Act, there are components of protection. And so our education, apart from speaking to the fact that people should make complaints, we should be also reassuring citizens that there is opportunity for protection for the whistleblower when they make complaints. And this protection is very secure. There's confidentiality for reporting, and anyone who leaks information they would have shared would be dealt with. This is what we should be doing as a people, and it should be expansive. So it's not doing it outside any other thing, but within the regime that we have set up. It provides clearly that we should educate. It also provides that we should assure citizens that there is protection for them when they blow the whistle.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Mary Adu. She's the Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative. Thank you for sharing those views with us now. Flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Manu Baumia, is accusing the flag bearer of the opposition National Democratic Congress, John Mahama, of running away from a possible debate. Addressing party supporters during the second phase of his nationwide campaign tour at Nanledigu, Dr. Baumia said that he's looking forward to a debate with the NDC's flag bearer, despite Mahama saying he doesn't want to debate.
I am looking forward to a debate with John Mahama on the economy, on the country, on the governance. But I'm afraid that he's running away from a debate, isn't it? His people say he doesn't want to debate, but he doesn't want to debate because he knows I will expose the emptiness of his policies. He says he has a 24-hour economy that he cannot explain. It's as empty as an empty barrel. He cannot explain it. None of his people can explain it. They say they will be exporting lions and elephants. But when we meet mano a mano, we can debate, and the country will see where our policies lie. And that is where we should go. We should give the country an opportunity to listen to us. But if he chooses not to debate, I will continue to sell my policies to the people of Ghana, and you will take the decision.
You heard the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, but the spokesperson for the NDC flag bearer John Mahama's campaign, Joyce Mbawa Mukhtari, has been reacting to Dr. Baumia's allegations and call.
Let me say one thing. If you look at the recklessness of the New Patriotic Party, if you look at the pronouncements and the utter disrespect of our political opponents, if you watch the body language and demeanor of John Mahama and Professor Nana Jane Akufo-Addo, it should tell you one thing, that this is a pair of experienced hands that are coming into office to serve the good people of Ghana and not for personal aggrandizement. I ask myself a question every day: what is the purpose? What will be the use of a debate with Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, for example? Let him tell us what he has done with all the lectures, what he has done with all the promises he made. Who is actually fixing the economy now? What have you seen as a major indicator to the fact that they are making an attempt to fix the economy, apart from the opulence that you see, the state capture of all state assets? Now I understand why the incoming running mate said what he said about the revered Kwame Nkrumah Osagyefo. Osagyefo fought for Ghana at the verge of our independence from the colonial master. At the time, us who hail from the northern region were literally heroes of wood. In every colonial home, if you found a servant, that servant would be from the north. What does Osagyefo do? He set up the secondary school educational system, which built a cosmopolitan Ghana. Today, the Ghana we enjoy is as a result of the secondary school structure that we had. And all persons from the northern region, who are probably almost 70 and above, were persons who benefited from this free education. When they were launching free education, did you hear President Akufo-Addo at the time try to give credit anywhere?
You heard Joyce Mbawa Mukhtari. She speaks for the former president and the flag bearer of the NDC, John Mahama. But what have you been thinking about these views? We hit the streets of Accra to get some views.
It's necessary because I think both of them should be able to articulate and let the nation know what they're about and what they want to do and what is expected. Ghana is our motherland and we want the best for our country. So we have every right to hear, what they have for us. So it's a fair challenge, and I believe that both ex-president and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, I'm sure they are very capable and ready for this debate. And it will be a nice thing to watch and to hear and to know who we're voting for.
I do not think Mahama and Bawumia are struggling over a same thing. Mahama's time is different from Bawumia's time. Bawumia's situation now is different from Mahama's time. So they cannot, they won't have any debate, any genuine debate. I don't think so.
Very necessary. We are in this country, and we know one of the problems we are facing as a country has to do with the economy. So if there will be that platform for the main contenders, you are the main contenders, those two political parties, we have to know your point of view in that perspective. So that debate, it will be good for the competition then for the country as a whole.
It's very, very necessary because in Ghana, we are facing economic challenge in every area, in every dimension. So it will be very, very important for two of them to go for a debate so we can know. But being in debate, we want to know who can actualize. We want something that can be evidence, something we can see.
And you heard some voices there from the streets of Accra. We're joined by Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere. He's a political analyst. Good afternoon to you, Doc. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Beatrice.
I know you've been watching the political scene very keenly, but I'm wondering whether you're also looking forward to a debate between Vice President, the flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and former President John Mahama.
Well, I can see it as an interesting call from the Vice President, who is the leader of the party now. But I equally see it as an act of despotism on the part of Dr. Bawumia, because he knows that, for example, the president's rating, according to Global Info Analytics, is as low as around 7%. Now, 60% of Ghanaians feel the economy that is in its woes is as a result of the blame it on Dr. Bawumia. If you found yourself in the lowest rating in terms of political career with that of your boss, then obviously it means that the advantage is on the side of the main opponent. So why shouldn't I call for a debate and let Ghanaians know? So I see it as he having nothing to lose, but wanting to leverage, find out, to gain some goodwill from the public, so to speak. That is how I see it. Other than that, a debate is good because we'll be able to know exactly who stands for what, who believes in what, how you intend to go about what, how you intend to solve the problems, the challenges that are confronting us. So if that were genuinely, I think that wouldn't have been much of a problem. But of course, it is all part of political strategy. Don't forget that in 2012, we had a fair presidential debate. In 2016, the presidential debate, Mr. Akufo-Addo did not take part. It was done, all right, but he did not take part. In 2020, by that time, the IEA boss had become the boss of the EC. Now, NDC claims that they don't, trust the IEA. So they wouldn't want to take part in anything. And then they had their elections, and we saw what happened in the 2020 election. Now, in 2024, the main leader of the party in government is calling for something of that sort. So you, as a politician, you may also sit down and do your calculation. But having listened to Mr. Mahama and his press relation quite recently, I think Sunday or Monday or so, I've forgotten the day, the way he interacted with the press, on occasion that he proposed so many ideas, he accounted for the challenges facing us, and then proposed solutions to these challenges. And he did not shy away from answering any question. That, for me, convinced me that he is really ready to take up the challenges and fairly try to solve the problems confronting this nation. And I said on one of the media platforms that, look, if I think that was Nana B, he had said that whatever Mahama does, they will make him come for a debate. And so having listened to Mr. Mahama, watched him on TV for that particular program, I realized that, look, if Dr. Baumia doesn't take care and he boldly, in an arrogant fashion, goes for this kind of debate, I think he will come out in tatters.
Doc, I've heard you make two arguments. The first one being what you call desperateness on the part of Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, and the second bit also explaining that you believe it would help Ghanaians to understand what these two individuals intend to do should they give them their vote. But really, at this stage, is it still that relevant? Because Ghanaians have seen the governance of John Mahama right from when he was vice president under John Mills to when he became the substantive president. And we've seen also that of Dr. Mahmoud Baumia as the vice president for at least 8 years now.
Yeah. So in not too long ago, interview that I granted to Happy FM, I said that his idea of poo-pooing the policy of Mr. Mahama, saying that he will show him that his policies are empty, I think that is arrogantly boastful. And that if you have any better policy, we are seeing it. What are those policies? We are seeing it. We are living your policies with your boss and yourself. We are seeing it. We are seeing an inflation that rose to as much as 54 and now has come down. We are seeing a highest interest rate. We are seeing the highest debt portfolio. We are seeing a debt exchange program. All right? We are seeing high prices of commodities on the market. We are seeing high fuel prices. All these have come about as a result of your policies. So what new thing do you intend to put across as far as the debate is concerned? At the end of the day, he's just going to go on the tangent of going on a promising spree as it did in 2016 and so on and so forth. And so, if you ask me, his policies are on the ground. Ghanaians are aware of the policies. If they are good, why not? They will vote for you. If the policies are bad, they will equally vote against you. But you see, I am saying that it's more of a political strategy. You now know that all polls are in favor of your main opponent and his party. Therefore, you will want to strategically position yourself to take away some of the vote, because these people have nothing to lose. And that is how I see him, that because they are in the lowest in terms of political popularity and the goodwill of the Ghanaian populace, that's the more reason why they are calling for something of that sort. And nothing. In terms of Ghanaians benefiting about that, if it is a matter of policy, which Mohammed, we've seen yours. And if it is a matter of records, the records are there. If it is in corruption, of course, you compare yours with his. His is better. Though we said that his was worse. But now having come into power and you having ruled for almost 8 years, we are seeing your performance. And I'm very sure that come 2025, which would have been a measurement done in 2024, we will see a higher percentage in terms of corruption. Unless probably whoever wins put in the necessary mechanism to curb that.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much. Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere, he's a political analyst with the University of Cape Coast. Thank you for speaking to us. Now, as part of efforts to eliminate river blindness and lymphatic filariasis, also known as elephantiasis, in Ghana by 2030, the Ghana Health Service, through its neglected tropical disease program, is embarking on a mass drug administration in 77 onco-endemic districts and 3 lymphatic endemic districts in the next 2 weeks. The exercise is targeting some 5.8 million persons at risk for onco and 440,000 persons for elephantiasis across the country. The Director General of the Ghana Health Service at a media briefing said the approach will provide a single dose of medication to all eligible persons 5 years and older, excluding pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers.
Yes. By interruption of the transmission. That is true. By treating people with the parasite, you are able to reduce the parasite load so that the chance of picking from one person to another is reduced or eliminated, and that's the strategy. And so we do that by doing annual mass drug administration and using the community-directed treatment with ivermectin strategy. And now with our pilot, we may, once it goes on, we may have a more effective medicine to also apply. Lymphatic filariasis, commonly known as elephantiasis, occurs in the filarial parasite as transmitted to humans through the infected mosquitoes. And that's another parasite that we are dealing with.
And you heard that the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kuma Abuaje, Sarah Penkro, is following this event for us. She joins us live on the line. Sarah, when are these campaigns expected to start?
Beatrice, the campaign will start on the 15th of July, which is next week, Monday, to the 26th of July. So for the river blindness, will be taking place in 15 regions, excluding the Volta region. And then we would have the elephantiasis taking place in 3 districts in 3 regions, also in the country.
Thank you very much, Sarah Pinkro, there, bringing us update from that press conference by the Ghana Health Service on eliminating certain diseases in certain endemic communities and districts. Now, an Accra High Court is expected to decide whether CEO of defunct Men's Gold, Nana Appiah, should walk away as a free man or be ordered to defend himself in a case in which he is accused of defrauding many customers of the gold dealership. And Lord Edward Sari is monitoring events for us in court. He joins us live. Lord, what more can you tell us as regards what's happening? All right, we'll bring you that update later in our subsequent bulletins. And that's how we end the news here on 3FM. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to shrenews.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.